Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for your time. I do sincerely appreciate you clicking on my video. What I like to do on my channel sometimes, one of the things I like to do is talk about yarn that I've got and how I used it. One of the reasons that I started my channel was because I was looking for things like, I've got this yarn, what do I do with it? And I wasn't really finding the patterns, that I could apply that yarn to. So I wanted to create that content thinking maybe I'm not the only one who's thinking about what do I do with this yarn. So what I worked with on this video, or what I'm going to share with you on this video, comes from Urban Chic yarn. I got it a few of the Hobby Lobby sales ago. And this yarn is 78% acrylic and 22% cotton. It's a size 3 and there's 275 yards in one of these skeins, and the colorway for this one is called Caribbean Vibes, or Caribbean Vibes, however you say it. And I thought it was a really great colorway. When I picked it up, it was the only kind of this brand, and so I was taking a chance on it for not knowing the yarn. But sometimes you just get what you get and you don't throw a fit, and that was what I did with this one. I'll figure out something with it, and I'm really pleased with the pattern that I put it with. But again, it was kind of one of those that I mainly had only worked in acrylic up to that point. So when I got it, and knowing that it's in a cotton acrylic blend, I didn't quite know how to apply this type of yarn quite yet. So it's been sitting here for a little while staring at me, giving me side eye. Why aren't you using me yet? I'm pretty. Use me, use me, use me. So I came up with this. I didn't come up with a pattern. I found the pattern. It's by crochetthing.com, and I'll go ahead and link it down below. It's called the Tra Triangle Shawl by crochetthing.com. I used a 6mm hook, and it is, you do the pattern through row 31 and then you start to decrease. So it is, ta-da! It's this such a cute, it fits great for a shawl. It fits me about mid-back. It's still very long to tie over or do, whatever type of shawl wearing you might do. But of course, me, if you know me, you know that I put it up in front and pull the ends around like this. There you go. And then you can, where it's super long, you can pull this in and then it's not super long. You can do just about anything with it. So I am in love with it. I had just come off of working on a little kerchiefy type scarf thing called the sawtooth, and it had all these little triangles down at the edges, giving it the sawtooth effect. And so I made 2 of those scarves, and I was kind of over it by the time I finished the second one. And so I was very surprised with myself that I did this one and did it quickly and enjoyed it so very much. So it is just rows of triangle like that, and you just come down to the point. You just come down to the point like you do with so many of these. I'm obsessed with these. I can't get enough of them. And I loved the color changes. It's got these purples and pinks that you don't really see when I was holding it up like this. You see like a little bit, well, maybe you do now that I said that, but you see a little bit of it. Like I felt with both my skeins that it was really a blue was the primary color. But they didn't evenly change. Like you can see here how much blue there is, and then just a tiny little bit of the orange and a tiny little bit of the pink there. I did not cut and paste. I did not come across knots in the yarn where they had tied on a different color, out of order. So you can see it here too, just a little bit of the orange and a little bit of the pink and a little bit of the purple. So it is just a very basic, very easy stitch. You do out the long chain, and then you do an increased height in each of a stitch in each one. So you start with, I think you start with a slip, and then you do a single, and then a half, and then a double, and then a treble to create those little fans like that, little triangles like that. I just love it. So this was a very successful product or project for me to come up with my yarn. I love it. And I used 130 grams. So it's 100 grams for one, so I use just a little bit into the next one. And so, yeah, I thought that that was a total win. I love, love, love it. And it's big enough if you wanted to do, you know, if you were riding in a hot rod and need a headscarf, or, you know, keep your hair from blowing. I mean, it's not very, it's very, very airy, and it's very light. So I can't see really wearing it in the wintertime as a warming device. But as a keep your hair from blowing from the convertible or whatever, that would be a good pick for me. So. I love getting a good result. There wasn't one thing about making this that made me unhappy. So like I said, I'll link it below, and let me know if you work on it and what yarn you used, because I think this was a great pattern. Okay, and one of the other things that I've been working on that I will go ahead and share with you is another shawl from Fiber Spider. I absolutely adore him. I'm sure the rest of you do as well. I used my Caron cakes, and I had some scraps. This colorway is called Red Velvet, and and I really like Caron cakes. I've got a lot of them, and I'm working with a bunch of scraps now. This was 80% acrylic and 20% wool, which not a lot of people like, but it is a very warm yarn to work with. As it's sitting on my lap right now and I'm roasting. But it's called the Gliding Fans Shawl, and I used 220 grams of my scraps. I pretty much had one cake and then partial of another cake. And so with a project like this, I was trying to color control a little bit, and crossing my fingers throughout that I was going to have enough to make it right. And so here is that shawl. As you can see, the red is the border color that I used because I only had it represented once here, based on what I had left. And so it starts with this, as far as my colorway goes, it starts with the brown there at the top, and then it goes to this gray, and then the red, and then the maroon. I love it. The other project that I did use this yarn for, it was in a blanket. After Melanie Ham passed away, I went back and revisited her channel a lot, which I had learned a lot from her in the beginning when I started crocheting. Well, started again as an adult type thing. So I love this yarn because it reminds me of that blanket. And this colorway does have a beige, a lighter color. Here, let me see if I've got any of it in here. Yes. But I wasn't going to have enough. I wasn't going to have enough to get through a row, I thought, and it was going to be just one row of that by itself. And so I just ended there. I do have another handful. I keep saying, what do you think about tassels? I don't know. I want to wait and put tassels on. I don't think I've ever made tassels before. I can't remember ever making tassels before. So I've got all of this scrap left, and I thought, this might be a good time to practice with some tassels, but I don't know if I wanted to add them to this project or not. It is a little bit big to do the front thing. It would like cover your entire frontness. If that's what you're looking for, then that's great, because I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the way these colors come together, and I'm so happy with Caron for putting them. Caron? Who's their maker? Who's their maker? Yarnspirations? Yeah, for putting the colors together like this. So yeah, so it works as a really, really big front scarf, or I'm choking myself up here, wrapped around, or a really good size shawl, and it covers all the way down to my waist. So I thought this was a big win. I'm super happy with it, and whenever I'm working on a Fiber Spider project, I'm always like, okay, now what's the next one I can work on? I want to do another one. I want to do another one. So I've got some more Caron scraps. I don't know what kind of colors I can get together. I don't know if I want to do a shawl in crazy color scraps or not. Like, so we'll think about that some more later. But I thought this was a good use of that yarn, and I'm so pleased with how it came out. I'm so very happy with how it came out. Worsted weight 4, and like I said, a 6mm hook. So one last thing to share for you or with you today, and this was kind of a fail, I think, if you ask me. I showed you a couple weeks ago. I did this Starburst stitch. Oops, sorry. I did this Starburst stitch, and the project just kind of by nature ended up with a slant on one side. I love this book, but it doesn't always tell you, it never tells you how to do the edges. It just tells you what the, the repeats are. And so it doesn't show you what the edges look like. So clearly, if they had shown me that this was going to have a slanted edge, I wouldn't have done it, right? Unless they show you what to do about that. Like I was going to make a scarf out of it, and then that didn't work. So I decided to go ahead and just meet the ends. So here you can tell, you can see there where just by nature, the slant of the stitch, I didn't care for it. I mean, I think that the project looks great, as you can see right here. I really, really like it. But the edging just wasn't working. So I just put it together, slipped, did a slip stitch down the wrong side of it, and then added a single crochet to the top and bottom. I was going to do like a little scalloped edge, but I ran out of, this was at the end of the brown, and then it changed color, and I didn't want the scallops to be a different color. So I like this because you can wear it in two heights. You can wear it two ways. You can wear it, just as it is, kind of fuller. You can tuck your face down in if it's a little chillier, or you can fold it down and it still looks great. I don't think you lose anything by folding it over like that if you're a little bit more maybe claustrophobic like me, or you don't need it as high. And then you can close up your jacket and not have a whole lot of bulk right here. So I usually like that with my cowls, to be a little bit closer fitting, just because the bulk in the jacket would bother me. So yeah, kind of turn a fail into a, I'm not going to say it's fabulous, as I do fail or fabulous, but it does work like this. You can still wear it like this. Whereas when I was working it and just blindly going, so there's another, I'm going to do my little soapbox thing, do gauges or do swatches or whatever, because you'll see something like that before you waste a whole evening like I did with this one. I should have done a swatch, and I never do that, and I keep telling myself I'm going to, and I always tell you I'm going to do that, and then I don't. So I think that worked out for, having been a fail, and now it's no longer a fail, in my opinion. So, all right, guys, thanks for sitting with me today. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderfully blessed day, and I hope you'll come back and see me again. Thank you. Bye-bye.